All right. As a point of note, to clarify again for everyone in attendance currently, we are recording. Anyone who joins, I have a spike coming in. That's unexpected. Well, hello, Spike. You have good timing.
Hello.
Just so you're aware, since you have joined, we are about to get started. We are recording this, so if you choose to speak any further, you will need to confirm that that is okay.
Thank you for letting me know, and that is okay.
Perfect. I am going to give us just a few more minutes, and then we are going to get the first story started. I think everyone will like the first pick. We have a lot to go through. We probably won't make it through the whole stack. Bear with me. I will need to get my bearings so that I can get this recorded. I don't know quite how this is going to work. I think I can read sideways. That might work. That'll do. All right, so welcome to story time, Mother's Day edition. I hope we can do this futuristically, but this will be the first. Our first story is called Year-Round Engine. This is a Thomas the Train story. All right. Let me see if I can get this working. My face is less important than the book. On this sunny spring day, Thomas is busy as usual. An engine's work is never done. Thomas and his friends have important jobs to do all year long. We have bees and skunks and bunnies in the background over here. Every spring, the really useful engines get a very thorough washing. This spring, scrubbing makes Thomas squeaky clean and ready to work. I didn't know there were so many different colorful trains in this book. During spring vacation season, Thomas and the other engines can carry travelers all over the countryside. When the time comes to go home, they bring passengers back to town. Why is that car named Annie? This car is Annie, and apparently this one is Clarabelle. Yeah, don't know why they're named that, but they are. Summer is a great season for coasting along the seaside. Emily loves to haul a load past the beach so she can watch the beautiful sunset. The sun is setting on us currently in Chicago as well, so there's that. Ooh, turtle! We found a turtle. Rosie brings crowds to the, I believe that's Sodor Summer Festival. There is so much for an engine to see. Rosie sees games and clowns and a man walking on stilts. We've even got a man with a strong man balancing a chair, and I think the clown is balancing on a unicycle on a chair on a man's forehead. That is, I don't know if that is humanly possible, but it's in the book, so it must be okay. Birdie loves to lead summer field trips to the zoo. He would be happy to spend every day cruising past the lions and elephants and giraffes. We've got a little wolf in there and a zebra and that's a human and even a bear. We've got bears. All right. Who's our next card? When autumn comes around, Thomas and his friends have lots to do. Percy chugs through colorful falling leaves on his way to pick up apples at the orchard. Cargo train. Thomas. Percy is a cargo train. There's even a little tugboat. I gotta quit pointing with my middle finger. It's a bad habit. Tugboat. During the fall harvest, Thomas helps Farmer McCall by carrying his goods to the market. Looks like growing a lot of vegetables. When winter arrives, Thomas has an important job. He drops off firewood for the families of Sodor. The wood will keep them nice and warm. I'm so glad we're almost out of the cold weather. I think a few more weeks and we'll be normal. I can hope. We all shall hope. Oh, and we're at the end of it. Sir Topham Hatt is proud of Thomas and his friends for being really useful engines all year long. Soon enough, spring will arrive and it will be time again for a good scrubbing. They only get washed once a year, apparently. That's intriguing. And that's book one. We're going to take a short little break by like 5 minutes or so, and then we'll start another one. For all not aware, this is my darling friend Nigel. Nigel was missing an eye when I got him, and as such has a button in replacement. He is my buddy for the evening while we do story time. Mhm. Our next book, I would like to stress to everyone that these books were found at random as a book donation drive was done at my store for work. And we had a bunch of leftovers that didn't get donated because they were brought in too late. And I went through them and was able to salvage a large quantity of children's books for this evening. This one is called The Best Thing About a Puppy. We have a child playing with their young puppy with what looks to be a pepperoni blanket of some sort. It might be intended as polka dots, but I'm calling it a pepperoni blanket. Right, here we go. The good thing about a puppy is he's warm and wriggly. The bad thing is he won't keep still. The good thing is the way he rolls and bounces. The bad thing is he goes and jumps in puddles, and then he bounces back and shakes himself and wants to cuddle. Dogs like to do that. They get wet and then they just shake on you. The good thing is you get to walk him every day. The bad thing is he wants to go his own way. The good thing is he loves to chase a ball. The bad thing is he hates to give it back. No fetch, no take, only throw. The good thing is he likes to race with you. The bad thing is he trips you. The good thing is he knows just when to comfort you. The bad thing is he licks your hands and then your face and neck and ears. We do not shoe puppies, so I will not be reading this line. No puppy shall ever be shooed. Sometimes when you call, he will not come. You have to call and look for him. But when you find your puppy, you're so glad. The best thing is a puppy is a friend. Nothing is quite as lovely as a puppy pouncing on you. Oh, and now the human little boy is under the pepperoni blanket. Hmm, I like that one. We have. I have four more books set aside that I'm definitely reading, and then we have a few others we could go through. Depends on how we're feeling, but we're gonna go through at least a few more. This book is named Moon Bear's Shadow. I looked through it a little bit earlier just to get a feel for it. It seems cute. We shall see. One day, Bear went down to the pond with his fishing pole and a big can of worms. When he was putting a worm on his hook, he looked down and saw a big fish. "I'm gonna catch that fish," thought Bear to himself. But when Bear stood up to throw his line in the water, his shadow scared the big fish away. "Go away, Shadow," cried Bear. But Bear's shadow would not go away. "Okay," said Bear, "if you won't go on your own, then I'll just have to get rid of you." He put down his fishing pole and began to run. He ran around the pond. When he got to the other side, he kept on running. He ran through a field of flowers, jumped over the brook, and hid behind a tree. "Good," thought Bear. "Now Shadow can't find me." But Bear was wrong. When he stepped out from behind the tree, the first thing he saw was Shadow. Nearby was a cliff. Bear walked over to the cliff and looked up. "I'll climb so high, Shadow won't be able to follow me," thought Bear. Bear climbed higher and higher until at last he pulled himself up to the top. Puffing and puffing, he smiled with pride, then looked down and saw his shadow. And now Bear was very annoyed, so he went home and got a hammer and some nails to nail his shadow to the ground. He hammered and hammered, but no matter how many nails he hammered, he couldn't nail his shadow down. "If I can't nail him down," thought Bear, "maybe I can bury him." So he got his shovel and dug a hole. When the hole was deep and wide, he let his shadow fall in the hole. Then Bear filled in the hole with dirt, and when he was finished, it was almost noon. The sun was high in the sky, and his shadow was nowhere to be seen. "At last," sighed Bear, "no more shadow." Excuse me. But now Bear was very tired, so he went inside and took a little nap. While he slept, time passed, and the sun once again cast shadows everywhere. When Bear got up and opened his door, he saw his shadow on the floor. "Not you again," exclaimed Bear. He slammed the door, hoping to lock Shadow inside, but Shadow was too quick. Sighed Bear. "How about this? If you let me catch a fish, I'll let you catch one too. Nod your head like this if it's a deal." When Bear nodded his head, the Shadow nodded too. So Bear went back to the pond and once again threw the line in the water. By this time, the sun was in a different part of the sky, which made it easy for Shadow to keep his part of the deal. And when Bear caught that big fish, Shadow caught one too. I like that the Shadow caught a fish too. Right. I have three more to go. The last one is very special. I looked through it entirely, and it's pretty much my favorite in the stack. I can't wait to share it. However, our next book is Mouse Mess. This one's a big book, so we're gonna have to angle it a little different. Good thing is I can read upside down, mostly. Alexa, TV off. That did not help, but it's fine. It says, for my dad who loves cornflakes, dedication from the book, and we shall begin. Hush, hush, a little mouse is sound asleep inside his house. Little mouse is even got a little stuffed animal, which I think is a stuffed animal mouse. Just odd, just the same. On the stairs, the sound of feet. Mouse is up, it's time to eat. Crunch, crunch, he wants a cracker. Munch, munch, a cookie snacker. I'm very sorry, Spike. Crackle, sweep, he rakes cornflakes and jumps into the pile he makes. Sniff, sniff, milk and cheese. Mouse would like a taste of these. Splish, splash, the milk spills out. Food is scattered all about. Oh, he's made a mess. Sticky, gooey jam to spread. Peanut butter smeared on bread. That sounds tasty. Tipping, slipping, sugar falls. Pour and pat makes castle walls. Ooh, these are my favorites. Olives, pickles, catsup, fun. Pop the tops off one by one. I love pickles. Mouse steps back, he looks around. He can't believe the mess he's found. Who made this awful mess? Asks Mouse. These people need to clean their house. Gurgle, bubble, water flows. Soaks the jam between his toes. Oh, that's... Don't put jam between your toes. It's... No. Now that Mouse is clean and fed, he leaves the mess and goes to bed. Oh, he sleeps in a sardine can. It's a little sardine can. That's adorable. Right. I chose this next book to be in the definitely reading pile because it's a very pretty ceremony and piece of another culture that I don't have any connection to, but it's just really pretty and I love to talk about it. When I read this book, it made me happy, so I wanted to share it. It's called Binny's Diwali. Start better. All right. This one's a little wordy, so we're going to be reading it for a minute, but that's okay. Benny woke up happy but nervous. It was her day to share about Diwali, the festival of lights. Since her class was learning about different celebrations, her teacher, Mr. Boomer, had asked her to talk about her favorite holiday. Last month, she talked about Rosh Hashanah. Today, it was Benny's turn. Sorry, Sarah talked about Rosh Hashanah. It was Benny's turn. She hoped everything would go just as she and her teacher had planned. I don't know if that's meant to be a backpack, but it's adorable, and I want one. Benny started getting ready for school. She smiled as she noticed the Indian outfit Mom and Dad had laid out on her chair. Maybe it was the perfect day to wear her new blue suede shoes. For good luck. Benny turned around and got a glimpse of her mom looking so beautiful in the bright red silk sari Dad had bought in her for Diwali. Everybody went shopping for Diwali. Kids got new clothes and toys, parents bought each other jewelry, and friends exchanged gift baskets filled with cakes and sweets and nuts. Wearing her new clothes, Benny ran downstairs for breakfast. Instead of cereal, Mom and Dad had a treat for her. Warm, I believe that's pronounced jalebis. I do not know for sure. Orange discs of sweetness that melted in her mouth when she bit into them, and soft, milky petals that crumbled in her mouth and made her lick her lips. Dad quickly packed the rest for her class, sorry. May the words you speak today be as sweet as jalebis and as soft as petas, he said. Now I want to try these treats. They look tasty. Mom drove Benny to school. Remember to tell them about the oil lamps, she told Benny. She kissed her goodbye. Good luck, Ben. You will do great. After morning circle time, Booney, Mr. Boomer called Benny's name. But when she stood before the class, a terrible thing began to happen. Suddenly, she felt so shy and scared, her mind went blank. Some children began to giggle, others fidgeted, not knowing what to do. Today is Diwali, Benny said nervously. Diwa who? Yelled Tommy. The teacher stood up and gave the sign for quiet. Benny did want to share her favorite holiday with her friends, but she couldn't find the words. Mr. Boomer put a kindly hand on her shoulder. Take a deep breath, he whispered. I know you can do this. Just then, Benny remembered what Mom had told her about the lamps. To celebrate Diwali, people lit little oil lamps called diyas and put them by their front doors to guide good luck into their homes and chase away the darkness. All over the world, Diwali marked the victory of goodness and light. We got all these pretty candles and designs. Excuse me. Benny now knew what to say. Diwali is the festival of lights. It is a Hindu holiday that lasts 5 days, and it celebrates the victory of goodness and hope. She told them about the fireworks, how they whistled through the air, burst like stars in the night sky, leaving streaks of gold and red and green. She described the sparkles Dad lit in the yard, how she made figure eights with them and golden sparks opening like a flower. Mr. Broomer brought over the streamers that Benny had made. She took out some colorful glitter and asked Juliet and Aisha to help her make them brighter. Arts and crafts are fun. Happy Monday, morning activities, circle time, Diwali with Benny, and apple counting. Class gathered around Mr. Boomer's desk as Benny handed him a tiny electric clay diya. Teacher turned it on. Small flickering light looked so pretty that all the children oohed and awed. Nice little candle there in the middle. Ooh. Benny told them that if on Diwali you looked down from an airplane, you'd see the city shine like a diamond, lights shimmering everywhere she looked. She made them close their eyes and imagine a dark sky with a million twinkling stars. Diwali is a magical time for children everywhere. It's kind of like the 4th of July in a certain extent, except it's not really celebrating the same kind of thing. But it's a lot of sparkling lights. Benny had one more thing to show them, the best thing of all. She took out bags of colored powder, red, blue, yellow, purple, green, and orange, and sprinkled them onto the floor. First, she drew a flower with the powdered chalk, then she used it to write Happy Diwali to all. And they show a little picture. The children started clapping. Benny went to her desk, and out came the box of petas, jalebis, one for each student in the class, and one for Mr. Boomer, too. They ate every last crumb of the sweets and smacked their lips with delight. Romeo raised his hand. How many festivals are there in the world? He asked. Then he smiled. Thousands of them. They are all beautiful in their own way. Mr. Boomer leaned over to Benny and said, Great job. She grinned ear to ear. Benny walked home that day celebrating her own victory of goodness and light. The spirit of Diwali was real. The story of the oil lamps had chased away her own fears. Everyone loved Diwali, this wonderful festival of lights. And while we're not going to read this portion of it, this is an in-depth explanation more into what Diwali is and the festival itself. The story of how it started and the background and what the festival is. I will post pictures of this to the chat after we are done. I'm going to take those pictures now because I will otherwise forget. Because ADHD is a thing. All right. Pictures taken. All right. We have arrived to my favorite of these books. It is a lovely book about someone with sensory issues who doesn't like socializing, also known as It's Me. This book is called How to Party Like a Snail. A little flimsier than the rest of the books, so bear with me as I figure out how to hold this thing. We're gonna get rid of it. Snail is a party animal. Oh, kind of. He especially loves the quiet things about parties like confetti, using his indoor voice to make new friends, whispering meaningful wishes to cakes. You wish for more cake. And savoring those few silent seconds before everyone yells surprise. You've got, I think, a skunk and a bunny and a bear, and of course, snail, and a little worm, too. But parties aren't often quiet, and sometimes things can get too loud for Snail. That's when he shrinks into his shell. From inside his shell, Snail still finds a way to join the fun. This is his jam. Too bad no one can see his sweet dance moves. Sometimes Snail's friends try to coax him out, just that things get a bit too loud for him sometimes. And that makes him wonder if he's the only one who thinks that quiet is just as fun as loud. Lately, Snail hasn't been invited to too many parties. Instead, he spends a lot of time waiting and waiting and waiting till one day the Smail carrier finally arrives with a promising looking envelope for Stump. Snail is starting to think that he's more of a party pooper than a party animal. He brought the letter to Stump. Stump is a stump. The only type of party he feels like going to now is his own pity party. And that gives Snail an idea. What if he threw his own party? It'll be the funnest, quietest party I've ever been to. First, he invites himself. Then he makes a pot of warm milk and lip syncs to all his favorite lullabies. Snail is having so much things start to so much fun that things start to get wild. Let's make this party even quieter. To hype up the hush, Snail fluffs some pillows and rolls himself up in a blanket burrito. Soft shell. He almost is having the time of his life, but he can't help feeling like something is missing. Is it too quiet? Could I miss the loud? He says. Do I miss the loud? Am I loud? And that's when Stump gently chimes in with a suggestion. Maybe your party is just missing a friend. Stump, you're here. Welcome to my party. I'm always here, since I'm rooted to the ground. But your shindig is filled with all my favorite things, says Stump. Snail and Stump realize that they both love parties, just not the rowdy ones. And so they have a party where they're mostly quiet. They giggle and laugh, but they're still quiet. In celebration of the shush, Snail and Stump play an exhilarating game of hide and seek. Oh, hide and hide. I'm sorry. They played hide and hide. Put on their favorite jammies. I'm in my favorite jammies. And then the lullabies get turned way down so they can barely hear them. Snail and Stump party in their hearts all night long. And this is my kind of party. Quiet, calm, and relaxed, and just, chill. This is my favorite of these books, and I'm so glad I found it. All right. We have reached the end of my stack of books. I have a few more I could read, but I think we are going to stop here and just chill for a few before we cancel out. No one is expected to talk or anything like that, but I am going to stop the recording. If I can remember how.